Hello, I have here the Lego Star Wars Death Star trash compactor. I bought this for $90 US and built it live on Twitch. This set comes with 4 minifigures and then kind of 2 more. If you consider R2-D2 to be a minifigure, which some do, some don't, and if you consider C-3PO to be a minifigure, which you should, because it is. The figures in this are actually pretty good, although there is something interesting that they've changed, I'll talk about in a minute. This is what the thing looks like from different angles. It has the same depth as the other dioramas in the initial part of this line, except for this extension right here, which goes the thickness of a brick minus the thickness of a tile or grill piece here deeper. So if you push all of your original diorama, your first series diorama sets up against the back of your Billy bookcase, or bookshelf where you're displaying them, this one's going to stick out a little bit. Down at the base, they have 2 printed tiles. The one on the left is common throughout the series, and the one on the right is exclusive to this particular set, and the printing is good, including the white against black, which they did just fine because they can, because it's not that big of a deal. And then around the edge, they've got the same sort of treatment that they've used on the other ones, with a brick plus the height of a plate plus the height of a tile, with just the black going around it. And then these are drum lacquered grill pieces pretty consistently, which looks pretty nice. I think it makes for a good setting. Now, the outsides of these side walls don't look good. They're not camera friendly, but I think that the other sides of the walls actually shouldn't be particularly beautiful. I just really personally don't like the look of the undersides of Lego plates. It's just not a good look. Like, this stuff here is fine. That's cool, but all this just completely looks unfinished to me and unprofessional compared to especially the other side. Like, the level of detailing on these walls is impressive. You do the back wall first. Well, technically you do the base first, then you do the back wall, then you do the side walls one at a time. The number of different tiles that are used here and the depth that is included, I think is really good. The only thing that I will say that's a possible positive, if you want to look on the bright side of, sorry about the focus there, but of the look of the backside of the side wall there, is that it kind of looks like the wall treatment, the backside of the wall treatment in the Death Star, or the Death Stars that they've done, you know, in the play scale ones. There's a little bit of connection there, but just look at how many swaps they do back and forth between the gray and the brown and the dark tan and different sizes and shapes of them. It's interesting. And then also the lock here, the door, looks very nice. For some reason, when I looked at the pictures of this when they were first unveiled, I didn't realize, it didn't really land with me that there are a bunch of tiles used for the floor as well, to represent all the dirty, filthy water, you know, rusty, metally, putrid water that they're walking around in. Now, you can't make the minifigures actually get down into that water effectively. I guess you could take off the legs if you wanted to simulate it a little bit, but I do appreciate the full physical representation of that water throughout here. I built, before this set, I built the Dagobah set. So that one had that one step with 177 1x1 green, trans green tiles. This one doesn't have that many of the trans black tiles. I got a lot of questions on that video though about why didn't they use the 1x2s? Well, for that one, for the Dagobah one, they simply don't have 1x2s in green as yet, and so I guess they decided they didn't want to recolor it at this time. They do have 1x2s, however, of the trans black or trans dark brown, as it's called, tiles. However, if you mix together 1x2s and 1x1s, it's not going to look as consistent. I actually like this look myself, and I very heartily reject suggestions that Lego went with the 1x1s just to bump up the piece count, because almost nobody cares about the piece count, honestly. This is mostly selling to folks who are not Lego set reviewers, and it's mostly Lego set reviewers and folks who have been watching Lego set reviews on YouTube and, you know, to some degree on the web for a long time, who care about price to part ratio specifically as a number, as if that means a whole lot. These pieces are tiny anyway, so price to part ratio is super skewed for a set like this, and I completely reject the notion that Lego intentionally increases the number of parts just to make us think that a set is worth more. Yeah, that just doesn't make sense to me. I think that they did it because they like the look, or because they want the consistency, or in some cases because they have more of the parts in a different size and shape. Overall, I mean, I'm just looking at the thing, talking about something else, but I'm just looking around here, and it looks good. It looks pretty right, and I appreciate the fact that minifigs can be properly posed in here. But that's not the good stuff about this set, really. The good stuff about the set is that you can push from the sides and make that happen. And it works. It totally works. Notice I didn't have to do anything else. I didn't have to repose anybody. As long as you put them in the assigned positions, those are safe spots for the figures, and they have fairly realistic and appropriate possibilities for posing, and you can just do that. That's super cool. It's better than it looked in the pictures. It's better than I could have ever asked for, and it looks really good in the fully, come on, there we go, in the fully compressed form as well. Like, they still fit, and that's cool. That's cool. Any other criticism aside, that is cool. It looks so right. Like, this is fine as it is. But then you do this, and the fact that everything fits together like that, that's something special. Now, what's left behind out here doesn't look great. I would not expect it to look great though, but it doesn't look too out of place. Again, I don't like the look of that. And could there have been some suggestion of like hydraulic rams, whatever is pushing this in? Sure, but then when it's in this form, that would be sticking way out. So I think this is about reasonably the best they could have done, other than covering up some of the back here with inverted tiles. They do have inverted tiles. Some of this could have been filled in to look a little bit better. But you notice I've not been showing the back again. I showed it at the beginning. This is technically another angle that you're intended to look at. So it's trying to be somewhat camera friendly because they put the details there for a reason. That's a new print right there for the access port that R2 can go up to, and I like that. What I don't like here though is the fact that he can be in this area, interacting in this area. You got the C-3PO there, everything is set up, and you can't actually open the door. The door is not designed to be open. There's no sliding mechanism, there's no rotating mechanism. The door looks good, but you can't do anything with it. That's a bit of a miss. Getting closer in on the minifigures, obviously we have Luke and Leia and Han here, and a new print for a Stormtrooper body armor, which I didn't even recognize. So it's not just the body, but also the legs are new prints I didn't recognize, but while I was building this, somebody over on Twitch pointed out to me. I was like, oh yeah, look at that. Wait, that looks really weird to me. That looks really funky. Why is the breastplate looking so horizontally compressed from the sides? Like, what? It's very awkward. But then I went and picked up the previous version of Stormtrooper and realized, oh yeah, that's not new. Actually, I like the upper part of the new one better. It looks better to me. It has the depth, definitely matches the overhead skewed lighting from the scene in the trash compactor. Like, you could really see the underlines of the the unnecessary peck detail that they put into the armor pieces there. So I think that's pretty good, but I think I actually liked the slightly more subtle design of the previous version down here at the base. Just me personally. Now the legs here are done pretty well, but I do wish that that's pretty good. I think that the connection into the hip piece could have been done a little bit better. Leia looks fine. What really is most inappropriate, in my view, amongst all of these, all of the individual prints that you see here, is that we don't have any shock and horror and anxiety and fear involved in any of these faces. Like, okay, Leia is looking, I don't know, is that a smirk? Is that an evil smile a little bit? Is that a fake smile? I don't know. It doesn't look really mad. And then Luke is just unaffected, and Han doesn't even know what anybody is talking about. So, you know, they didn't give us faces that would have been really appropriate for this scene. And certainly these here aren't. I mean, when they found out that they were saved, they were exuberant. And yeah, just none of the emotions of the scene are captured here. For the record, there's what's the extra large jowl Family Guy Blue Harvest Edition version of the dual molded Stormtrooper helmet looks when matched up with the new printing. Chewie, I think, is just Chewie. I don't think there's anything new with this figure. I think it's just the standard modern version of that character. However, the story is very different for the droids. So C-3PO has a little bit of drum lacquered silver on one leg. It's not all, it doesn't go all the way through. There's that big gap between the knee and the toes, basically. We'll get back to that. But then he does have printing for the arms, and that is arms plural. Both arms have printing on the side, which is great. The updated printing just in general looks pretty good, looks pretty consistent. I think I might have seen some C-3POs that I like the look of a little bit better. Maybe the brown color that's in there feels a little bit overdone. I think the positions of the lines are good, but I feel like there are too many of them. I wish that was dialed back somehow, some way, converting some of those over to just gold. It's really good work here. I feel like there's too much contrast in here. It maybe like there's too much going on. You know, I respect the work, but could have been better. We'll come back to the leg though. Look over at R2-D2. Back printing. This is one of two figures, one of two versions of R2-D2 to come out at the same time. The other one's in the Dagobah set, to have back printing for the first time ever. All this time we've been waiting for that to happen. So that's good to see. And that print on the back of the R2-D2 torso there, or body, is really good. The print for the head, not so much as usual. Wonky, right? Look at the blue line, the dark blue line. It's high and then it goes down low. Stays pretty low and then it starts to go back up and then it goes down. See? Yeah, I have that problem all the time. And folks who are like, I have 500 different astromech heads and have never had one go wrong. It must be just you. I can't speak to that, but almost all of my astromech heads ever have been wonky, as I have shown on video for years now. Let's get back to this. At the same time as this figure is being produced, also the version in the UCS Landspeeder is being produced. That Landspeeder is already in boxes. It's been done. It's not a later release, even though it's being put on shelves officially later than this set. They're produced at the same time. The dual molded leg version is available to Lego to include in any set that they want. This is not a cheap set here. They easily could have included the dual molded one. However, as seen in an interview that was just published today, April the 28th, over at Brick Fanatics, you can Google them. You can look them up. Lego is saying that they are now happy to put exclusive figures back into UCS sets after just 1 year ago saying that they didn't want to do that because it's anti-consumer and is kind of greedy and not good and nobody likes it. Now they're saying they are going back to doing exclusives in the UCS sets because of fan outcry over that darn UCS gunship. They're saying everybody wanted there to be exclusive figures in the UCS gunship, so now they're listening to fans and they're going to put exclusive figures in the UCS sets again, like they've done before. So in this set here that I paid this much money for, I have to not get the dual molded leg for C-3PO. So thanks, folks who complained about there not being exclusive figures in the UCS gunship. Here's what we get as a result. Not happy about that at all. It's a fine figure, but could have been much, much better for essentially no additional cost to Lego. And that sucks Finally, these here are the only pieces that I had left over, and there are of course no stickers for this set. But there's one last auxiliary thing that I want to talk about, which is the instruction book, which I normally never talk about because instruction books are just instruction books. And you don't need 2 minutes of a video review to be dedicated to the instruction book. However, in this case, there is something special and different about it and interesting that struck me as soon as I took this out of the box. It has magazine style binding. See, the staple is right down the middle, which immediately felt cheap to me. I didn't like it, but then I got past my own initial impression and desire to rage over it, and I realized that this is a good thing. Functionally, this is a good thing because it allows me to immediately put the pages down. So even if I come towards the end here, like this bends open so much better than those flat bound ones do. The flat ones, you're always trying to fight against it. You don't want to crinkle things. You don't want to break the binding or anything, but at the same time, they always want to close up on you. This doesn't, and I appreciate that. I think though this feels cheap, it works much better, and I don't like the frustration of having to fight against instruction sheets, or nobody should be expected to have a specialized stand with the little clips that hold things on. No, this is just better for people in general. All right, price, value, all that stuff. $90 US, 90 for this. It is not hyperbole. It is not acting. It is not making a big deal out of nothing for me to say it doesn't make sense. Yes, there are minifigs there. There are minifigs. And I hate this concept that Lego minifigs are somehow worth $5 each now, because they're not. They're not. They're really not. I used to say $3 each from what I saw. I'll give them $4 now even, which hurts, but I'll say $4, which is, it's so ridiculous to say this is $4. It's so ridiculous, but let me try it. $4 times 6, and hey, you got special printing here. We're talking about $25 worth of figures there. Okay, fine. $25 worth of figures. Where's the rest? How is this $65? How is this $65? I try not to get emotional, ragey, or super gushy. Sometimes I can't. Stuff sometimes just makes so little sense to me. It just doesn't make sense. If I could make sense of it, then it works for my brain. It doesn't mean I don't have to like something, but if I'm able to make sense of it, at least I'm able to make sense of it. I'm not able to make sense of this. Costing $65. Here's Dagobah. It's $10 less. This is already overpriced in my opinion. It's longer, it doesn't have the built up sides, but it has more meat in the middle and a lot more. I mean, there are actually layers here. It's not just a single layer of tiles. Like there's some substance here, but it does have 3 fewer figures. But even this didn't make sense. This makes even less sense to me. Even though it has more figures, it's just. Okay, I'm going to put out a challenge to folks watching this video, and it's a serious one. Can you justify this being $65? Can you point to a reference? It doesn't have to be Lego related, right? Everything has gone up in price over the past couple of years, especially the past year. Is there anything like this? Is there anything that I can compare to this that is $65 or that you can compare to this that's $65 that makes this make sense or makes this seem reasonable in any way, shape, or form? Because I'm not seeing it. I can't think of anything. It's just all wrong. It just doesn't work for my brain. I can't even rage about it. I can't be mad at it because I just don't understand it. Help me to understand it. Can you please? It's a serious question. This isn't a leading thing. I'm not doing this for the lulls or for the clicks or for the reactions. I want to know how, as a person who's going to continue to review Lego stuff, how can I wrap my brain around this being $65. Also, really don't like the fact that they've not given us any consistency with the depth here. That should not have been done. No, that's not right. A little bit of consistency, please. Lego, if you're gonna have a system, please. The bases have the same depth, but then if the base doesn't actually have the same depth, then what's the point in the first place? It's kind of weird. Yeah, price, that's it. This is super cool. Better than it has any right to be. The fact that the minifigs can be placed in there as you squish this up is great. That doesn't look great, but just a handful of inverted tiles would make it look a lot better, easily. I don't care about what the back looks like because it's not supposed to be looked at all. The fact that there is something back there is a bonus to me. The fact that the door opens is just dumb. Excuse me. The fact that the door does not open is just dumb, given all of this that they do. So anyway, I got nothing else. Let me know how you feel. Let me know what you think about it. If you can explain this to me, I will be reading comments. I will be listening. I am curious. I want to learn. I want to understand. Help me understand. Thanks.